Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well, having a good time, having fun. Whatever it is you do, keeping busy and keeping safe, most importantly. Um, it's time for me to do another Tales from the Kitchen video. And something I was about to say, and I can't remember what it was. But don't worry, it'll come to me long after I'm done the video when I go, that's what it was. But anyway, that's not important. If you want to do me a favor and be cool and hit that subscribe button, that'd be really cool. Just want to get up to 1,000 subs. And if you want to like and comment and all that other stuff, go right ahead and do that. I would really appreciate it. And I will get back to your comments if you comment. Anyway, with that being said, this is just talking about 10 things that I do not miss about working in restaurants. Myself a little more centered there. And there are no particular order per se, just a bunch of things I jotted down. Excuse me, I'm fighting off the tail end of a cold, and there's Lemmy coming up behind the camera. Excuse me. You'll probably see a head, a little kitty head, her head bumping the camera. There she is. But anyway, I think that was just the side of her. But anyway, let's get on. And now there's another cat here, and you're going to hear cat growling in a second. No, get out of my water. No, don't go over there. Don't go over there. She doesn't want to see you. She doesn't like you. I do, though. I love you. Yes, I do. Okay, going down. Okay, let's get to it. Just like I said, there are no particular order, just some stuff I jotted down real quick. Anyway, one of the first things is work versus pay. Anyone that's worked in the kitchen or does work in the kitchen or just has in the past, whatever, you know, it's a hard job. It's a thankless job. It's super busy almost all the time. And the amount of money you get, now I'm talking about kitchens, I'm not talking about front of house and tips, and I'm not including tip outs. Okay, I thought she was chewing on something. She's rubbing her head on something. I'm not including tip outs and that sort of thing. I'm just talking about standard pay, whether it's hourly or salary. But for the amount of work you do, the amount of sweating you're doing, the amount of hours sometimes you have to put in, and the what you get per hour is not that really not that much when you think about everything that you're doing. And it's a stressful job. I mean, it's unforgiving in terms of it's just a hard job, especially when you're new to it and you walk in, you're watching all these cooking shows on TV, and you're like, wow, I want to do that. Well, hey, that's great. You want to be a chef? Fantastic. Just understand what you're in for. I mean, as you work your way up the ladder, you can and will get paid very well. When I was the executive chef working at a place called Festa, I was making really good money. And I'd worked for that owner for quite a few years over, he had 3 restaurants and worked my way up through all his restaurants. And I was getting paid well then, but you know, you're still working hard and you're working for it. And, but yeah, the amount of work you do versus the amount of pay you're getting is usually not balanced out. Um, it's just one thing that I don't miss about it at all. I mean, where I'm working now, completely different industry. Just working in a warehouse, it's an easy job. I'm getting paid more money than I was as a line cook, definitely. But just something to if you're trying to get into the industry, you're starting out, you're young or whatever, just keep that in mind. That's you're not going to get paid as much as you think you are. Not knocking the industry. I'm just being honest. These are just facts. This is just stuff that you would find out or people already know. Another thing is unregulated hours or schedules. Now, you can have a set schedule depending on where you are, but a lot of places, especially big corporate chain places, which are pretty much 90% of what's left out there at the moment, these smaller independent restaurants are still lots out there, and in my neighborhood, it's just full of them. The independent restaurants here. Go down that way, it's Korean. You go up that way, it's Persian. And they're pretty much all independently owned. You don't see, like, until you get way, way closer to downtown, you start seeing the McDonald's and Taco Bells and all that stuff that you're used to. So, but when you get into the city, yeah, it's mostly a lot of chain restaurants when you get right downtown. But anyway, sorry, I was getting off track there for a second. Unregulated hours and schedules, meaning that you might not, it's not like Monday to Friday. You're coming in at 9 and leaving at 5. You might come in at noon and then be there till 5, then you might be there till 10, depending on how busy it is. You never know what to expect. It's just you don't make plans. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you might even anticipate, okay, every day I'm off at this time, but then one day it gets busy, and sometimes they don't even ask you. You just end up keeping you just keep going and going and going till you realize, holy shit, I've been here 10 hours. And sometimes you look at the schedule. Why am I working 4 days this week, and then next week 5 days, next week 3 days? If you don't have a set schedule, it's just you never know. There isn't always a balance, and that always sucked, especially when I stopped managing, when I stopped being a chef, and I was just a line cook. It was just I would look at the schedule, or sometimes I'd just be at home and then just get called off. Oh, we don't think it's gonna be busy tonight. Don't come in. It's like, okay, that's 8 hours of pay. So that's another thing. And also doing splits. A lot of restaurants will have you do splits. Something I have always been against. Something I, in my later years, as I had more experience and had a little bit more pull, I just said, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that anymore. Now, if you don't know what a split is, people in the industry know what it is. But basically, what it is, you get there at, say, 11 o'clock, you work till 2, then you disappear until 4 or 5 or whenever, and then you come back for dinner, and then you stay till about 10. So you get 8 hours, but you're also 3 hours in the middle of the day where you can't really do anything. You might be able to get in some chores or do your laundry or do some grocery shopping, that sort of thing, but you can't really do anything, because what can you do in 3 hours? You can't go anywhere. You can't, go home and have a nap. That's what a lot of people do. Or sit in a coffee shop, which is what I used to do back in the day, because there's really nothing else to do. After that is another one is unqualified or bad managers that don't actually know what they're doing. They just got the job, and they just come in with this attitude like, oh, I'm a manager, you got to listen to me, but yet they have no clue on how you do your job, especially in the kitchen. And you got front of house managers that just sort of guesswork. I need this, I don't have time for that, give me time, not sure exactly what I was going to say about that. I had something in mind, but now the cat's distracted me. They're doing something. But just unqualified or bad management teams that just, they only care about the money, which I'm going to do a video about good versus bad management, because one thing I always remind managers, especially when they're new, is your job is literally just to make money for the owners. You're just there to make money. They don't care as much about you as you think. They talk up a big game. They talk you up and say, hey, we're going to do this for you. We got this going, and this is all yours. You're in charge. But at the end of the day, if you fuck up, you're gone, and they will replace you like that. They got a stack of people that they can call in at a moment's notice. Especially chain restaurants, they can just transfer one person to another place, and you're gone. And they don't really care. You are literally just to make money for the restaurant. And when you come in with this attitude, like you're super important, and again, this is going to go into the other video. Bear in mind that you're just a manager in a restaurant. There's hundreds of thousands of restaurants all over the world, like 1 million restaurants, which means every restaurant has a manager, or has multiple managers rather, which means you're one of about 10 million people doing the exact same thing. You're not that important. Okay, that's the other thing. Bad management. People that, especially managers that think that they're more important than they actually are. Sorry, I'm getting a little dry. But you're not that important. The weekends, working weekends all the time. So I'm so glad this new job is Monday to Friday. Done with having to work weekends, you having to work long weekends, all that stuff. It's just ridiculous. Just, you don't have a social life. You literally, you live to work. That's basically how it is. And I'm speaking of this through a lot of experience. I've been doing this for I was doing it for 32 years, 33 years in total, since I was a teenager. So yeah, I do know how much it sucks. Now, a few years ago, I did get a lucky break. I got hired at one restaurant for a company that I would never go back to, even on you couldn't pay me to go back to this company. I was there 6 years. And, but the first store they hired me at was, we're in the downtown business district. Now, I don't know about business districts in other big major cities. But in Toronto, our business district, none of the restaurants in the more quieter streets do any business on the weekends. It's so slow. So they close Monday to Fridays, close long weekends, all the busy days, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, all those days that every other restaurant is open, New Year's Eve, that know they're going to get a good solid rush, good solid hit, not open. It was a dream job. Monday to Friday, weekends off, long weekends off, all those crazy days. And plus, it wasn't very busy. The bar was busy. The kitchen itself was not that busy. Thursday night was our busy day because all of our business came from the offices. And on Friday, a lot of the big wigs up in the buildings, it was actually in the it's called First Canadian Place, the BMO building, the tallest skyscraper in Toronto. It was under that building, and all most of our business came from there. And a lot of those richy business guys would take Fridays off and have like a long weekend. So Thursday nights we got our hit. That was our Friday night, and it was done by 9:30, 9 o'clock. So, and then after that, I had to sit there till 11, just cleaning up and listening to music. It was like it was in terms of kitchens, it was a dream job. And you rarely ever find those. But unfortunately, after COVID, the restaurant closed and I got transferred to a different location and then another location. And eventually they laid me off for stupid reasons. Nothing I did. It was just the business was losing money. And I already did a video about that a long time ago. But anyway, yeah, having to work weekends and crazy stuff like that. Most of your friends end up being either coworkers or other people in the same industry because you're working kind of the same hours. And it's usually people that work your shift. So if you're in the industry and most of your friends are in the industry and you work at night, most of your friends are in the industry and they also work at night. And if at the same time, if you work during the day, most of your friends that are in the industry also work during the day. It's just facts. It's just weird the way it is. Also, booking time off in the restaurant industry. Like this was a new thing when I went to this new job. I need this Friday off. Okay, book it off. You know, okay, I didn't know I can do that. But in the restaurant industry, it's like you got to book off 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance before they do that schedule, so you can have that weekend off. So if somebody comes up to you and says, "Oh, this Saturday we're having a barbecue. Can you get it off?" You're like, "Oh, you should have told me like a month ago." Well, I didn't know a month ago. Well, sorry, And again, it goes down to most of your friends are in the same industry, so they know to tell you weeks in advance. So that's another thing, just booking time off. And also, you have to hope that other people. Now, this is probably true in most businesses or jobs anyway, that not 3 or 4 other people are booking the same day off because they need someone to work. But in kitchens, it's even harder. If 2 people got the same day off, you're probably not going to get the day off. But again, you do need that big giant window of time just to go have a barbecue with your brother or something, with your family or something like that. It's just, I do not miss that at all. Calling in sick, that's another thing. The whole idea, you have to call in 3 hours in advance. Now, I understand why, because they need someone to cover your shift. So if you're really sick and you start at 5, you got to call in by 2 or 3, depending on the restaurant itself's policy. It's usually 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, to let them know so they can try and find someone to fill that space. Whereas other places, I got to start at 9, I get up at 7, call in 7:30, I can't come in today. It's not a problem. But in restaurants, it's basically, can you walk? Yes. Are you having a heart attack? No. Are you in the hospital? No. Get your ass to work. And that's how it is. And for the and it goes back to the working sick, working all those hours and stuff, for the amount of pay you're getting, it's really not. Again, do not miss it at all. Let me see. Lemmy's way up at the top. But yeah, I do not miss that at all. Calling sick. And other places too. Not only do you have to call in sick that much earlier, or that with that big window ahead of, with the 3-hour window, that's what I'm trying to say. Some places also will try and expect you to find someone to cover your shift implying that if that you can't find someone to work for you, then you still have to come in, which is stupid. And I think it's also borderline illegal because if I had to call, if I was sick and they said, we'll find someone to cover you, like, how? I don't have everybody's phone number, first of all. And secondly, I'm sick. I'm not coming in regardless. And that's more of a management thing anyway. It's not my job for you to find someone to cover me because I hurt myself or I'm sick. It's just, that's just, some restaurants will do that. And it's the stupidest thing ever. And it makes absolutely no sense. And like I said, I think it's kind of illegal. What else? Just the general chaos of going into a kitchen, especially when if you start at night and you walk in and it's been busy all day and the place looks like a shit show. There's dishes everywhere. It's dirty. And a lot of times the day crew will, their shift will end at 5. And depending on where you are, there's some cooks that'll just, okay, shift's done and leave. They won't stock up their shit. They won't clean up their shit. They just leave everything a mess. And it's just frustrating when you walk in and seeing that. When you walk in, everything's clean and tidy, stocked and ready to go. Then it's like, okay, cool. You don't feel so stressed. But when you walk in and you're like, oh, we got all these reservations at this time and this time, I got to stock this. I got to prep that. I got to do this. I don't miss that chaos at all. I think that was just, you get so stressed out walking into that, and then it just puts you in a shit mood for the next rest of your shift because you spend the entire shift just trying to keep up for what the people before you hadn't done that they were supposed to do. So another thing, just, I don't know, hate it. These are just more nitpicky things, but cliques and attitudes. You got a lot of people that walk into a kitchen, think that they know everything because they were a chef somewhere else. Now I'm even guilty of this. When I went from being a chef to doing the corporate thing, and I just went from being a chef to just a kitchen manager, assistant kitchen manager, I was making so many comparisons to fine dining and everything else that people were just kind of like, holy fuck, shut up about the fine dining. Like, I actually had to work that out of my system because I would be like, well, in fine dining, you would never do it like this. Fine dining, we don't. It's like I was so out of my element when I went to doing corporate, like casual dining. You know, the stuff you see all over the place, where there's a big glowing picture above the door of some cartoon character. You know, from like high-end food and high-end kitchens where everything's made in-house and that sort of thing. It was just such a change. But there are people that will come in with that attitude, and they don't learn to let go of it, and they just go and go and go with it until the point where you're just like, you don't really know as much as you think you know. You know, the thing is, I did know. I knew my shit. But there are people that they just come right out of like cooking school, got the red seal, and then suddenly, oh, I'm a chef. It's like, well, no, you're not. You know the basics of what they taught you in school, but now you have to work on that. And you came to a corporate place, you don't know shit, and this place isn't going to teach you. So leave the attitude at home. And there's also cliquey issues where you got groups of people, and I'm not a racist, but it does often happen with race. You'll get like there's a lot of Sri Lankans working in kitchens, and I have a lot of Sri Lankan friends. I'm not saying anything bad in that regard, but because of the language barrier and stuff, they'll sort of associate with themselves. And you got other people, age groups that, okay, we only hang out with this person, we're only going to talk to this person, and then they start talking shit about each other. Not so much the racial thing, but just groups of friends, and it just gets cliquey, and it's almost annoying where you go to say hi to someone, they're just like, oh, hey. And then they'll go to the other person, hey, what's up, man? And you've known each other the same amount of times. You guys go to the same bars, and it's just kind of frustrating. But like I said, that's just nitpicking. And the last one, and this is more of an obvious one, is just the heat. Just being hot all the time. Everything, you come in, and sometimes it's just so humid that within 10 minutes you're literally soaking wet with sweat, and you're just kind of like, you just feel gross because you're working with food and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's just hot, constant heat. You're chugging water as best as you can. And you can't have like glasses in the kitchen. It has to be plastic with a lid, or a lot of places it's with a lid and a straw. Like, you can't physically have a screw off cap and drink the bottled water, even though a lot of restaurants turn a blind eye to that and just say, oh, health inspector, throw it in the garbage and hide it, you know. But yeah, just the constant heat. You just get there, it's summer, it's hot outside, then you get in the kitchen, it's even hotter in the kitchen. And but again, that's just a nitpicky, obvious thing. I just wanted to have a list of 10 things, so I just threw that on at the end. But anyway, if you work in kitchens and you got comments below, I know a lot of this video sounded more like complaints, but it's just these are just facts about the kitchen and things that I'm really glad that I'm not a part of anymore. I'm not saying the industry is bad. I'm not hating on the industry. I've done it. I did it for 33 years, 32 years, whatever it was. Um, I guess it would be 32, 34 years actually. Actually, yeah, this summer it was 34 years, and that's when I stopped working in the kitchens. So yeah, 34 years, crazy. But so yeah, it's not like I'm saying this like I'm just talking out my ass. It's legit. And I will be doing a video talking about things that I do miss about the kitchen. It's going to be a completely different video because most of the things that I miss about the kitchen are still things that can happen in regular life in general, but there are specific things about kitchen life that were kind of cool, kind of fun. And I'll get into that another time. So if you watched the whole thing, thank you for watching. Like I said, comment below, especially if you work in the kitchen yourself. And I'll get back to you on that for sure. And I guess until the next one, bye.